The Mike Hosking Breakfast, 6 to 9 weekdays on Newstalk ZB.
Hey, Steve Williams is with us. Good to see you.
Hey, Mike, how you doing this morning?
Good. Was this an easy sell for you to do, to, tell the story?
Yeah, Evan and I did a podcast series over COVID, and we got so much interest over the podcast series that we decided that due to the interest from publishers that we'd put a book together. So, and we were granted an extra few months that you'd normally not get when you write a book. So we were able to really put some thought into it. So really pleased with it.
And was it cathartic for you?
No, I found it like a memory, a great way to rewind and sort of relive the journey of the time that I spent caddying for Tiger. That was really good.
What do you do these days?
What do I do these days? You think when you're retired, you think, wow, but, you keep yourself busy. I've had my own foundation, which I've actually closed up at the completion of last year, so that's been keeping me busy. I live on a bit of a lifestyle block, and, I do a lot of golf days and outings and that, and travel overseas, and, you keep yourself busy, still do a bit of speedway.
But you're content?
100% content, yeah. No, I don't miss the caddying and all the travelling that went along with that.
When you were sort of in the moment, if you like, when it was all you and Tiger, were you cognizant of what was unfolding around you, or was it was another day at the office?
No, because every Tiger, after every tournament, whether he won or lost, it was always on to the next one, and that pursuit of trying to chase down Jack's record of 18 major championships sort of became an obsession, and you're always looking forward to the next tournament, the next major, what course is it at. So the book actually has been a real good thing for me to be able to actually sit down and take a look at what he actually achieved, because during the time that he was doing it, there was very little celebrating. It was just this relentless goal of trying to reach, Jack had 18 majors. He wanted to get to 19 or 20. And that became such an obsession, and sort of, it was a really clear goal to work towards. And there wasn't a lot of time to reflect on what he was achieving along the way, not just in the major championships, but all the other tournaments that he was playing in.
What do you, with the benefit of hindsight, weight do you place on what role you played in his success?
Look, you can't, it's one of those jobs. It's like being a co-driver in a rally car, like the guy, he's swinging the clubs and that, but, you've got to be very in, working in harmony with a guy in that, and understand a guy in that, and like if a pro golfer knows if he has a caddy that they don't have that harmony with, and they don't have any success with, they go on to get another caddy and that. So when you spend any length of time with a guy and you have success, you're adding some value to it.
But how does that work in that sense? If you can be replaced, you can't then be a suck up, can you?
No, 100%. And look, what makes a good caddy is somebody when it's really on the line, the tournament's on the line and that, and the guy says to you, what do you think? And you've got to be very decisive and give a very positive answer, so that gives him positivity to hit a very good shot or putt, whatever it might be, and not be scared to be wrong. And that's something I've sort of prided myself in, that, I'm not scared to change or overrule what a guy says, or find a way to influence what I think is right as opposed to what he thinks is right, and make that decision, and it'll be the right decision, and ultimately that can lead to the difference between winning a tournament and not winning a tournament.
And what are you basing those decisions on? Are you basing them on maths? He hits a 7x number of yards, or you're basing it on his mood, or the day, or the vibe, or
feel?
What? Feel.
Absolutely. Just complete feel. I took so many notes when I was working for all these different players that I've caddied for, and I'd base those notes on exactly what you just said. Under these circumstances, the mood that he's in today, the way that he's playing today, how did he react? What did he do when he was in a good mood, bad mood, and all that? I wrote so many notes. So basically, after probably 18 months to 2 years, I could assess at the start of the day and know what was going to happen just based on his mood and that. So I wrote an enormous amount of notes, and when Evan, the guy that I co-wrote the book with, came to my house and sort of was looking over these notes, it sort of dumbfounded. He was just amazed that, that you would keep such lengthy notes. But basically, as a caddy, if you can picture yourself standing in that guy's shoes, so what is he looking at today? How is he feeling today? What is his mood today? And just translate your reactions to what that.
But that's your skill, though, because to do that with this is not just Tiger. You did this with a whole bunch of different people. To do that with a bunch of it, that's a skill. That's the talent.
Yeah, look, it's something that's probably unique, and to the best of my knowledge, I was probably the only one that's compiled such an extensive lot of notes on people. But, behavioural patterns, in all strides of life are very continuous, and I was able to, like I said, I would know based on the fact of what mood Tiger was in, how he was walking, and what his eye contact with me was, what sort of day you were going to have. So,
wow.
Yeah.
What at the height of it, what were you in terms of a relationship, if I'd asked you at the time? Were you mates, friends, best of buds, work colleagues, what?
Well, you've got to be able to separate we became very, very good mates, but you've got to separate that when you get on the golf course. So the moment, you get to the golf course, you're working as a caddy and you're working for him, trying to do the best job as a caddy, and you can't take that friendship role on, because if you get too friendly with a guy, your conversation tone is going to be different. Your authoritativeness is going to be different. So you absolutely got to separate those things. And I tried my best to keep as much distance as I could from Tiger, because I wanted to keep, where that energy keeps coming and that positivity keeps coming. You don't want to spend too much time around a guy away from the golf course, because, and particularly someone like Tiger, is different. Different cat, obviously.
How annoying did it become for you that I'm assuming every man and his dog wanted to know what Tiger was like?
Oh, look, I mean, you just, after, 6 months into the job, it's like, you just realise that, hey, this is going to be part of it. And, the Tiger Mania thing got really rolling. It became a bit of a circus between, 2000 and 2005, when he was at the height of his playing. And, he's a once-in-a-lifetime athlete, and obviously the best player that's ever played golf, and a very special individual in that. So, it was all part and parcel of it. And, after you get accustomed to it and everything, it just was, part of the daily.
The answer to the next question is a bit of everything, I'm assuming, but the mental versus the physical, because physically you couldn't beat him. He was a guy who transformed the game in terms of his discipline physically, and yet you need to be exceptional mentally to do it all, don't you?
Yeah, 100%. Like Tiger, obviously when he started getting into his prime and that, and everyone looked at Tiger and how he was going about his business. He was training more than most people thought it was doable with golf. Golf has a lot to do with flexibility, and that his mental capacity, his strength, his mental strength, the way that he was so focused, so determined, and the way that he worked. He just brought a whole new dimension to the game. Not only did he make the game popular from a fan point of view, but he changed the directions of what professional players became athletes. Like, you could look at the professional golf tour and sort of say 50% of the players and 50% of the athletes. Well, now you could look at them and say probably 90-something% of these guys are athletes now. They train and do all the different things that would go along with other sports, not just golf.
Is he likeable?
Yeah,
genuinely likeable?
Well, I mean, he's a fierce competitor, and anybody that has as much success continually as Tiger is going to have some haters. It's not just, not because of his personality, not because of the way he is, because he's so successful. And a lot of people in all sports don't like the guy that's at the top because he wins too regularly. And, if you go to a tournament and, Tiger's playing in the tournament, he's in his height and his powers, you realistically knew that you were going to have to play outstanding to beat this guy. Yeah.
The fallout between you two, how do you view it these days?
Look, when you sign up to be a caddy you don't actually sign up. There's no sort of contract, right? You work for somebody and it's never going to last forever. And if you spend, in our world, in a caddy's world, if you can spend 5 years or greater working for one player, you consider that to be a long stint. So, I was 12, 13 years into Tiger. And look, to be honest, it was, when I look back, he asked me when I went, basically what happened is I went to caddy for Adam Scott, and he asked me not to do it. It was during when he was injured, and I should have listened. My wife said, no, Steve, you should, if he says you don't want to do it, he doesn't want you to do it, you shouldn't do it. But in a nutshell, I didn't. But no, look, it's when things went a bit haywire with Tiger and that, it never quite was the same when I came back. So, but nothing lasts forever when you're a caddy, and it was good.
And is there a desire to I don't know, make up, catch up, put it right?
Yeah, well,
say anything.
I caught up with Tiger just not so long ago. I was in Los Angeles and caught up with him and that, and we had a good old chat and that. So, look, time heals everything. It's no big deal.
Really? So what do you make of what's happened to him now? Because I worry about him in the sense that his swing, like you look at, say, Freddie Couples, or Ernie L's swing, that's the most beautiful swing you've ever seen in your life. And I look at Tiger's, which is a manufactured swing, but a disciplined manufactured swing that was going to cause you some sort of physical difficulty in time. And look where the guy's seemingly fighting pain every day.
Yeah, it's interesting, Mike. The very first guy that I ever caddied for, Peter Thompson, the famous Australian guy, and I had great thrill every year at the Open Championship. Peter would attend, being a former Open champion, and he would always meet me after one of the practice rounds and just discuss things and talk about different things. And he said to me, Steve, you've got to tell this guy that he will not be able to keep swinging like that for the rest of his life. He said he's putting way too much pressure on his body. Yeah. And of course, he was right. Look, I mean, he has had, an extraordinary stretch of surgeries and physical things that have slowed things down and that. But, everybody's asking now the fact that is it the end of the road for Tiger Woods? In my opinion, would say no, it's not, because until such time where he can't get himself to train and get himself prepared for a golf tournament where he could stand on the first tee and physically walk 4 days with no hesitation and be able to practice and get himself in shape to win a tournament, I don't think it's quite gone yet.
Amazing.
Hopefully.
Amazing. I didn't realise he'd given you the Ford GT. That car. I mean, to come off a tournament and just go, the car's yours. And for people who don't know what a GT is, it's hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of car. It's a collector's piece of car, and you've still got that, I take it.
Absolutely, it's a great collector's piece because it's the only one of that type in New Zealand. So it certainly
How often
is.
do you drive it? Do you start it driving?
Not very often, not enough. But the lower the miles, the better. The more that it's worth. So no, I take it out every now and again.
That's amazing, and all the memorabilia that came with it. It's. Do you enjoy the down memory lane aspect of it or not?
Yeah, so not so long ago, Mike, I actually completed my man cave. And so when I go into there and I take someone into that man cave that's not been in there before and look at all the stuff there, it's quite a special room, and it brings back memory lane 100%. And like I said, when I was working for Tiger, we were so focused and driven on the goals that he had set. There wasn't a lot of time to celebrate or go down memory lane and that. But as the years go by, and the book certainly has helped do that, because the book has been a great road down memory lane for me to be able to relive so many moments. And I researched quite a bit. I took a lot of notes while I was caddying, which I was fortunate I still had those notes. And then I did a bit of research as well just to bring up, and that was going down memory lane. So the man cave is certainly, I like that kind of thing now.
Always good to see you. Appreciate it.
The
Absolutely, Mike.
Hosking Breakfast, 6 to 9 weekdays on Newstalk ZB.